Marhaba, shalom, and welcome to ROPESCAST, the independent voice of the Middle East. I'm Ibrahim Abu-Ahmad.
And I'm Ksenia Svetlova. ROPES stands for the Regional Organization for Peace, Economics and Security. We are a young organization that works to lay the groundwork for a post-conflict Middle East by connecting forward-thinking Israeli and Palestinian emerging leaders with like-minded peers across the region. We share a holistic vision for the Middle East, where everyone has more to win from conflict resolution and integration than to lose. If you are looking for more information on ROPES, please visit our website, ropes.org.
Our very special guest for today is Einat Levy. Einat is an entrepreneur, a researcher, and a strategic consultant to public and private and civic actors, specializing in Morocco and its relations with Israel. Following the renewal of the ties between the two countries, Einat joined the founding team of the Israeli mission to Morocco on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and led the economic and academic affairs. In this framework, she worked to formulate Israel political and economic strategy in Morocco and assisted Israeli and Moroccan economic organizations and entrepreneurs to form collaborations. Einat's journey to Morocco started back in 2012 with basically a sense of nostalgia and a wish to a better understanding of her roots and what it means to be Moroccan. She was one of the first in Israel to lead delegations and study tours to Morocco around political, economic, and social issues. Since then, Morocco has become her present and a possible future. Einat is also a researcher at the Mitvim Israel Institute for Regional Foreign Policy and a research fellow at the Forum for Regional Thinking.
So Ibrahim, our guest today lives in Morocco, and I know that you have been to Morocco before, but also after the Abraham Accords. First of all, what were your impressions? Did you think that everything was different after the Abraham Accords were concluded? And how do you personally feel in Morocco, being an Israeli, a Palestinian, an Arab? What do you feel about this country?
So I think my personal experience going before and after the Accords, the only real difference that I saw was the issue of the visa. That I had to do a visa in 2017 in the airport in Rabat. And, it's in Casablanca. You do it in the airport, and now you do it in a consulate in Tel Aviv. And it's a complete different experience in that sense. But
now you can even do it online.
Even online.
Yes.
And it's just became such a different reality in terms of how you go to Morocco. But in both experiences, I was with one time with Arabs, one time with Jewish groups, and you could see that the Moroccan population, even before the Abraham Accords, and of course after, were very understanding of complexity. They understood what it is to be an Arab citizen in Israel. I didn't need to explain it to a lot of people. They knew what I'm talking about. They knew our complexity. There's an understanding of what is Israel, what is Zionism, what is Judaism, and they differentiate everything. And I thought it was admirable. And I saw it even before the Abraham Accords and after. I didn't see a change in their narrative, and it's in a good way. It's not like they're changed because of the Accords. It's inherently, I felt that they were very understanding people of our complexity. But you also were in Morocco, but you were in a much more special time than mine. Yeah. You were in the World Cup. How was that?
So this was my recent experience, and it was absolutely incredible being in Morocco during the Mondial. When their football team did so well. I have to tell you, Ibrahim, I'm really not a football person. Don't tell anyone. But, it was really incredible to feel this national pride, the sense of joy. It was very peaceful. It was very joyous. And I'm very happy that I had this unique experience. But also the first time I visited Morocco, it was actually long, long before the accords were concluded. It was back in the winter of 2008. I can tell you that when I arrived, actually it coincided, unfortunately, with another hostilities with Gaza Strip. Gaza was bombarded, and there were actually a lot of protests against the war. But at the same time, I also felt that, well, there is a support for Palestinians, obviously, and I expected nothing less, because we know that Morocco chairs the Al-Quds Committee and all of that. But at the same time, I also felt that they know how to differentiate between the political situation and their relations with the Jewish community and Israelis at large. So this was something that is completely unique.
For us, especially in our field and what we're doing, and I've always looked at Morocco as like a beacon of hope in terms of its actual potential. That hopefully we can see Morocco potentially, at least on a personal level. I feel that Morocco could be a great moderator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I cannot find another country that is accepted by both Israelis and Palestinians like the Moroccans do. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that, there is definitely a place for also other Arab countries that are, doing already and putting a lot of efforts into the peace building and solving the various conflicts that we experience here. It's also Egypt and Jordan. But as you rightfully said, Morocco is in many senses very different. And this is what we expect to discuss with our guest today.
And so without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Einat Levy.
Hi, Einat.
Hi, guys.
Is it warm in Morocco right now?
Right now I'm in Rabat, and although many people also in Israel, they think that Morocco is, just a desert and camels sometimes, but the weather is actually pretty nice here. It's average of 25, 27 degrees in the summer.
Oh,
so I'm
God.
enjoying.
Right. Okay. So I want to leave Tel Aviv and to travel to your place right now, because here it's hot and humid, as you know.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so Einat, I want to ask you, and from your background, we know that you actually follow the state of relations between Israel and Morocco for a long time, and for the last few years you live there. It's very difficult always to summarize and to basically to make some conclusions. But now we are already 3 years after this seminal accords that were concluded. How do you feel about what is happening? So where are we today in the Israeli-Moroccan relations?
Well, I think, first of all, it has been like only 3 years, right? But we felt like the progress was of 20 years of official ties of the relations, because so many things happen in so many fields. And in general, we can say that we've seen the relation evolve from relations that were mostly civic and spontaneous for the last 20 years until December 2020 to more official and more organized kind of way. And we've seen a lot of achievements in these last 3 years. For example, numerous agreements and MOUs were signed almost in every field, like the Economic Framework Agreement and the Agreement of Scientific Research and Innovation. And around 20 agreements were signed just in the academic field alone, which is also a uniqueness of these relations.
So where do you see the challenges that we still face today? If those are the achievements, what are the complexity maybe that we're still facing right now?
Just to add to that the economic relations were very new to these two countries, because we haven't had any economic relations before the official ties were renewed.
But there were some economic relations, and not not direct. But I personally saw it seem tanker in Rabat in 2008.
Yeah, you're right. There were some economic relations being done through third countries and not directly. But without the official infrastructure for economic ties, it's impossible to fulfill the potential of these relations and also to bring concrete value to both people and countries. So I think this was an amazing accomplishment during the last 3 years, because we were able to lay down some infrastructure and to start creating those connections. And there were also numerous official visits, something we haven't seen before almost at all. And it was thanks to the official ties, but mostly on the Israeli side, we have to say. I think around 15 ministers from Israel visited Morocco in the last 3 years. Only Nasser Bourita, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Morocco, visited Israel for the Negev Summit. So it's not balanced, but it contributed a lot to the development of the relations between the teams, between the ministries, between the understanding of the different topics that are on stake. So in matters of achievement, I think we've done a lot, but we still have a lot of challenges. So for example, the expectations are very high because of this fast-paced, and expectations can also be something which is challenging, because some Moroccans or other people can ask themselves, okay, we've had 3 years of relations, but what have been actually put on the ground? So any agreement that we signed, we have the responsibility also to think how we can make it concrete. We don't really know Morocco. This is something which is a big challenge in my opinion, because yes, Morocco is familiar concept in the Israeli society, right? We have like 1 million Moroccan Jews living in Israel, but what do they really know about Morocco of today? We think about Morocco as a nostalgic concept, about what we heard from our grandparents, or if we are Moroccans, or we think about Morocco as a touristic destination. But in order to see those opportunities and to fulfill their potential, we need to actually know what's going on in Morocco today, in the economic, in the political, in social issues, and also vice versa. Like, what do the Moroccans know about Israel, besides what they heard about the conflict in the media?
So you mentioned
this is yes.
The two challenges that we're facing in terms of having ministers coming to Israel who only had one, and in terms of learning and understanding each other between Israelis and Moroccans. What other challenges would you highlight that still exist today, and hopefully we can overcome in the future?
Yeah, so as you mentioned in the beginning, we need to facilitate the visa process. I think the movement of people is a key factor to promoting the relations between the countries. We have a major challenge, which is the continuation of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. As long as it continues, it hinders the possibility to fulfill the high potential of these specific relations. And I think if we speak about what is happening at the moment, like the current internal situation in Israel, and sometimes even irresponsible rhetoric and actions being taken by the current government, is not always sensitive to regional and to international affairs, and it's more derived from internal issues within Israel. And I think sometimes it's not seen in a good way, and it impacts our relations. So I think if we even look backwards, in the 90s, we had 6 years of official ties between Israel and Morocco. So this is the second chapter, but it was put on hold in October 2000, and the reason was the outburst of the Second Intifada. So I personally have this in my mind always when I active here in this field. I remind myself that it was temporary the last time. It did not last for long. So, and it was because of the continuation of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So this is something we have to remember and think how to include Palestinians within the reapproachment that we've seen in the region between Israel and other countries.
Einat, so we know that Morocco, although it doesn't border our specific area of conflict, Israel and Palestine, but it actually always played a role, and there is also a religious meaning and the religious importance of Moroccan involvement. For example, one of the gates to Al-Aqsa is called Bab al-Marariba, the Moroccan gate. And therefore, when you are talking about the possibility of leveraging the Moroccan role in finding keys to the solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it seems that Morocco indeed has a lot to give in diplomacy, in its religious heritage, and its traditional involvement in Palestinian affairs. There is the Al-Quds Committee and so on. Can you expand about it? Like, how do you see Morocco being, if it does it want to be involved more in what is happening here? Because I think that Moroccans sometimes tell me that they have enough on their plate with conflicts with Algeria and economic challenges and so on. Is there a willingness to be more active and involved with what is happening at our end?
Yes, I think everything you've said is part of the national identity of Morocco, is the state it wants to be. And part of it is to be the mediator. And we've seen Morocco mediating in the Mali conflict and in the Libya conflict, and also between Qatar and the Gulf. So all of these episodes are a recent episode. So it shows that Morocco does want and can play this kind of role. It also has its tradition playing this role along the history of the Israeli, Arab, and Palestinian conflict. It was part of the negotiation between Israel and Egypt. It hosted one of the most famous secret meetings between the sides that took place in Morocco. It was involved in the Oslo process as well. And it was, of course, Hassan II, one of the architects of the Moroccan nationality, but he was a real great diplomat in this aspect. I think these days we have to think also, what do the sides want, like the Israelis and the Palestinians, and the political will on both sides to enter the process at this moment, because Morocco cannot play a mediator without at least some initial ripeness of the current moment to start. So I think it's better to wait for a momentum that will lead to a success than maybe jumping into something just so Morocco can play a role that it wants to play. And the momentum is very important in this sense.
So Einat, I guess a follow-up to that would be my question, and you mentioned the issue of knowing Morocco from the Israeli side. What would be your message, I guess, to all the Israeli initiatives that are going to Morocco? Because one thing that I'm seeing, and it's something that it's like quite prominent in the Abraham Accords, is basically to put the Palestinians on the side. There is that sense, that notion within Israel that let's make great relations with Morocco, and Morocco will have great relations with us, and without the Palestinian as part of the equation. But from what I see, that's not what the Moroccans want. So how can we change that perspective in Israel towards the relations with Morocco and understanding what Morocco wants?
You mean when you say what Morocco wants, do you mean that Morocco wants to see more involvement of Palestinian and the Palestinian issue within these initiatives? And
not to basically put the Palestinians on the side, or that the relations with Israel are not instead of relations with the Palestinian people, that these are one topic and this is another one, and it's not an either or situation.
Yes. Okay. So I think we have to start by saying that the Palestinian issue lays in the heart of, let's say, most of the Moroccan people. It's not something which is that they can even put on the side, because it's in their hearts, in their mindset. I think the Moroccans would want to see a two-state solution of Israel next to a Palestinian state. And those initiatives that you are talking about, that we've seen for the last 3 years, they can begin. But in order for them to really fulfill their potential, eventually the Palestinian issue should be addressed. And also, and this is something I've been hearing a lot from my partners in Morocco, is that they prefer always to see the diversity of the Israeli society and also the Israeli-Palestinian groups that are coming, because it's not just about Israeli-Moroccan relations. And sometimes I see it also, I see another metaphor in my mind, which can also help explaining maybe to the Palestinian side these bilateral relations that maybe can be seen as relations that put them on the side. I think, no, this is not the right approach. Israeli-Moroccan relations are like a huge book, with lots of chapters and pages, and within this book, there is one chapter that talks about the relation between Morocco, Israel, and the Palestinians. But the big book has chapters of the Jewish-Muslim relations also along 2,000 years and the continuation of it. So at the end of the day, these relations between Israel and Morocco, they also stand on itself, and they also offer some remedy to two chapters of two people that were splitted because of politics, but they have cultural, they have joint identity and belonging. And I'm talking about specifically the Moroccan Jews that live in Israel, but the Moroccan culture is already integral part of the Moroccan culture, of the Israeli culture. So it's not really separated. And the Palestinians issue is super important. It's important because all the reasons we already mentioned, but it's not the whole book. And we will not throw away the whole book just until this chapter is solved. We have to find a way not to marginalize any group and to make all of this work together. So this is my kind of agenda of, and I have to say I feel it personally also, because my grandparents came from Meknes. Like I cannot wait until the Israeli-Palestinian conflict will be solved until I can get, in touch with my Moroccanness. Like it has to go together. This is what I'm saying.
So a small disclaimer for our listeners, you and I, Einat, we go way back. Actually, we worked together in the Film Institute. And the first time we met at the Knesset during the gathering of the lobby for the protection of the heritage of the Jews from Arab and Muslim countries that I initiated at the time at the Knesset, and you spoke at this event. So at the time, and that was in 2016, could you imagine that in a few years you will be living in Morocco and not in Israel? I mean, I know that you are from Moroccan origin, and obviously the Moroccan Jews always felt this special connection. They felt that it's their home away from home in a way. But still, I think that this is something that is, first of all, quite a bold move. And it's unprecedented. It was unheard of just a few years ago. How does it feel to be a Moroccan Jew Israeli in Morocco, to live in an Arab states? What kind of response do you get?
Wow, I don't know where to begin from, because first of all, I think you were the only one that could unite all the communities of the Arab and the Muslim Jews in Israel, because they needed someone not from these communities, and it was an amazing event. I remember it until this very day. I think every day that I wake up, I can't imagine the fact and can't accept fully the fact that I actually live in Morocco, and I ask myself every day, is this for good? Am I here for a few months, for a few years? And most of the time, I don't know the answer to this question. And going back to when I lived in Israel 2.5 years ago, when someone used to ask me, why don't you go to Morocco? Because they knew that I was very active in this field. And I always told them that, no, my center is in Israel, and I go back and forth between Israel and Morocco, and that's good. And I call it the journey of longing. We live in I was living in Israel, but I was longing for Morocco because something was left in Morocco that is missing in my personal life and is missing also in the Israeli society and in the region. And this was the kind of journey. But now, since I've moved to Morocco and the step was taken not fully because I decided one day to move, but the two countries signed the agreement, and I received an offer from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel to join the foundation team in Rabat, of the Israeli mission in Rabat, and I couldn't say no. This is the truth. And then I moved there, and I remember the moment that the first apartment that I signed the lease on, I went to the Mukata, like the center where you legislate the papers, and I specifically wanted to mention, and I did in the agreement, that I'm working in the Israeli mission in Rabat. So to see the reaction of the people, and the reaction were so happy, and these were the regular people that work as clerks in the Mukata, not no one was making something which is fake. It was totally real. And I think what is happening now, how I feel, is that I actually live this longing. Instead of longing, I don't have this longing anymore, and I'm focusing on the actual action. So instead of preserving the Jewish heritage of Morocco, I create new bridges that will ensure these Moroccanness will be part of the Israeli society. So and vice versa. And also there is a great value, and I feel it, for me to be an Israeli living in Morocco today. The kind of engagement that I have with the Moroccan local people.
How is that, by the way? The engagement? What do, the average person on the street, you go to a store, where are you from? I'm from Israel. What's the responses are like?
مرحبا. مرحبا في بلادك. I think the Moroccans are very open to most nations in the world, and also to Israelis. They have the ability to have this complexity. Yes, we are for and we love the Palestinians, but we also have the connection with the Israelis, and it goes along most of the time. And for me, it's just a way to live what I was longing for. Like the number of Jews is reducing in Morocco. We have to remember this, and to be an Israeli Jew living in Morocco today is like proving that it is possible, and keeping some kind of a flame, that this complexity should remain in our region and in this country. And I have to say that I enjoy the life in Morocco very much. It's more than my expectation.
So Einat, following up what we just said, there is a rumor going around that I've heard of, that there is a legislation going on in Morocco to give back Moroccan citizenship to Moroccan Jews. Is that a thing? Is that tangible? Is that being discussed?
I think it's not a rumor, because the legislation in Morocco allows any Moroccan who left Morocco and the next generations, up to 4 generations forward, to actually claim citizenship for Morocco. So it's totally possible for all the Moroccan Jews, for example, that left Morocco in the 50s, in the 60s, and before. And there is, I don't know if you know, but there is a special quote of King Hassan II, that when the Jews left Morocco, it was a crucial time in history. It could have been a very negative time, like the separation. But King Hassan II, he was a visionary man. And he said that when a Jew departs Morocco, we don't lose a citizen, but we gain an ambassador. And this created this kind of sense of belonging between Morocco and the Jews that live in Israel. So I think it's totally possible that this is just the fulfillment of this visionary approach. And maybe another interesting fact is that Israel is not just a regular diaspora of Morocco. It's the second largest diaspora of Morocco in the world after France. So for example, in 2016, when the Moroccan parliament was having these discussions whether the Moroccan diasporas should vote, should have the right of the voting right for the parliament, they were talking actually about the Moroccan Jews living in Israel. Are they going to vote or what's going to happen? And this was part of the discussion.
Wow.
In Israel, we did not hear about this. Like the media did not cover anything, but it's super interesting issue in my opinion. Let's start with maybe the Amazigh issue. I think it's in a way the beginning of the process or the focal point, because when Morocco was established as in its modern country in 1956, it had to make a choice what will be this country about and what will be its identity, and it chose to join the Arab League and to set the Arabic language as the only official language of Morocco. But that created some of marginalization of the Amazigh culture, which, by the way, the Amazigh are the original inhabitant of North Africa and also Morocco, and they comprised around 50 to 60% of the Moroccan society, and they are not Arabs, they are other ethnic group. So this, in a long process, was on the Moroccan agenda until the new king, King Mohammed VI, gained its reign in 1999, and he decided to maybe give more recognition to the Amazigh culture and language. He founded a place, a center called Irkam, for the revival of the Amazigh culture and languages, and it is a royal institution. And then to integrate the Amazigh language, which is called Tamazirt. Actually, there are a few languages, Tamazirt, Tarifit, Tashlichit, it's so diverse, but to include it in the elementary schools. And eventually, in July 2011, there has been a new constitution presented to the Moroccan public, and part of the amendments were to recognize the Tamazight language as an official language in Morocco on the side of the Arabic. And this is a huge message to multiculturalism in Morocco. And they also, in this constitution, included a recognition of all cultural components that Morocco is comprised of, like the Carthags, the Phoenicians, the African, the Amazigh, of course, the Sa'ar Hassanim, and the Hebraic culture. They didn't say Jewish because still Morocco is a Muslim country, but the only constitution in the world outside of Israel that recognized Hebraic culture as part of its national story. And what we've seen is the national story of Morocco became bigger with time. So I think on the ground, there was always a tendency to openness and to tolerance, but it was lacking until this constitution, something official from the top. And this green light, this official recognition, started a new chapter in Morocco, which allowed the civil society to play an important role in actually taking this new direction, a new multiculturalism, and creating real projects. For example, the Mimuna Association that preserve Jewish culture in Morocco can be active also thanks to this process. And also the textbooks and the integration of the Jewish culture within a textbook, which is, by the way, is not a history book. It's a book there are actually two books, one for the first grade and one for the sixth grade. In the first grade, we can see a picture and a description of Morocco as a bonfire. And around the bonfires, there is a tribe of kids. And each kid represent a different cultural component of Morocco. One is African, one is Jewish, one is Muslim Arab, one is Amazigh, one is Sa'ar Hassani, one is from Senegal. And this is one image. The second book for the sixth grade actually integrates a unit about the city of Essaouira of Morocco, which is a symbol, a lighthouse of multiculturalism of all Morocco. And it tells the story of the Jewish community there and the multiculturalism, and Beit Zakia, which is a cultural center that tells this kind of story. And I think Morocco did not do it for the Jews of Morocco only. Like, they did it, first of all, for themselves. It's the definition of the we. The Jews in Morocco are not the other. They are part of the we. And this is an important difference from how we usually see it in recognizing minorities or the other. And this is a big lesson. And one of the major reasons for that is to ensure the stability of Morocco, because they know that if you encourage moderation and multiculturalism, then the internal situation can be better just thanks to these values. It starts with the values. So in my opinion, this is a major lesson to all our region and to Israel and to other countries in the world that were not very successful in creating a national story that is inclusive enough for everyone who lives in it. So maybe in other aspects, Morocco is not, the most economic developed country, but it is a success story in its national story.
So Einat, first of all, thank you for that, because I definitely believe, as you do, in the importance of inclusiveness and accepting complexity, especially as an Arab citizen here in Israel and a Palestinian, to be included with my own complex identity within the country. That actually would get us closer to the country. And hopefully we can learn from Morocco. One last topic that, we are here in Israel with a very dramatic time in our life with all the judicial overhaul, and you're so far away. But there's dramatic things that are happening also in the Israeli-Moroccan relations lately. So last month, we had the Israeli government recognize the Moroccan sovereignty over the Sahara. What do people think about that in Morocco? What does the average citizen think about this Israeli initiative, and how is it perceived? Is it getting the relations closer? What are the perceptions there?
Yeah, I think first of all, it was a matter of time, I believe, since the renewal of official ties, because this recognition was in some way already implied in the declaration that was signed between the sides, the US, Morocco, and Israel. It was definitely a Moroccan expectation. I can tell you from all the conversations I had here with many, many, many people, also decision makers, and also the average people in the society. Even last year, there was a famous speech of King Mohammed VI, who mentioned that Morocco evaluates its relation with other countries through the prism of the Saharan question. So, and it meant specifically friendly countries and new friendly countries that have not yet expressed their opinion on the subject. It was meant also for Israel and also for other countries. When I speak with the citizens of Morocco, with my friends and colleagues, I feel a very strong support for the Israeli recognition. I think also thanks to a value which is very important in the Moroccan culture, which is solidarity. And when Moroccan get a support from outside, it's already in itself, it's a positive action. And on the other hand, not on the other hand, but in the same kind of way, I think the Sahara question in Morocco is very crucial to any Moroccan citizen. They did not have this the big independence war to mark the move from being under the colonization to being an independent country. So the Sahara question is, in a way, their sacred national cause that is uniting them, and it's almost holy in a way. So I think any support received from this, from any country in this cause, is perceived in a positive way. But at the same time, we have also some criticism. Criticism coming also from the boycott movement, but also from other citizens in Morocco, that that ask themselves, okay, but this is a recognition from Israel, which is a country that still has occupation of the Palestinian people. So is it really something that Morocco needs? So this is also a question. So as you can see, it's a bit complex, but all in all, the support is the majority of the citizens of Morocco.
So Einat, thank you very much for this explanation. And I remember that we actually discussed this issue and the possibility that Israel will recognize the Moroccan sovereignty in Sahara while we were at a ROPES summit in Tbilisi just recently. And then it happened. I remember like, wow, so I get already all of this background. By the way, speaking of our recent summit, I wanted to ask you, do you think that these multilateral formats that include Israelis, Palestinians, Moroccans, Emiratis, and many other representatives from Arab countries are useful to promote the agreements that were concluded 3 years ago?
So first of all, it was a great pleasure to be with ROPES in Tbilisi and to experience the people, the forum, the historic time, I think, that we live in. Many things have been happening in the region officially. We hear about the Negev Summit, we hear about all the bilateral agreements that have been signed between Israel and other countries in the region. And I think what is missing is the civil society and the private sector that can bring real content and to fill those frameworks and those agreements with some real concrete initiatives. And I think today we don't have almost any regional forum that is focusing on these two great players of the civil society and the private sector, and also has representatives from Israel, countries in the region, and Palestinians. That this is, I think, one of the only forums I've experienced in the last few years that can bring them together. And this is why it's very important. So we need to explore the possibilities together. We need to understand the barriers of each other, the challenges of each other. And we can start from the bottom up in this, because honestly, I'm not sure that all the answers, I know that not all the answers will be coming from the top down. So this is my message. I'm a real believer in the civil society power to change things and to complete whatever is starting from the top down. Has to meet something that starts from the bottom up.
Absolutely, Einat, and we are actually aiming to do some of our programs next year in Morocco, and we'll be happy in the future to discuss also the results and the programming that we will have there, and the success in exactly what you meant, connecting people, civil society, private sector, and increasing and leverage our agreements.
Thank you so much, Einat. We can talk for hours about this topic, me, you, and Ksenia, I feel. But and we will continue to discuss this all the time, the situation of Morocco, the region. And it's really an honor to always have you with us and listen to your perspective. And we have someone to visit always in Morocco, Ksenia.
Yes, we're looking forward to this.
Please come, and thank you for having me, and thank you for everything that you do to all the team of ROPES for this really important work that you are doing. مرحبا بكم في المغرب.
Thank you so much, Ksenia.
Thank you so much. Yalla salam. Shalom.
Shalom, salam.
Bye.
You've been listening to the ROPESCAST, the independent voice of the Middle East. Our guest today was Einat Levy, an entrepreneur, a researcher, and a strategic consultant to public, private, and civic actors, specializing in Morocco and its relationship with Israel.
We hope you enjoyed our episode today. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and all quality podcast platforms. We are very grateful to our listeners from across the Middle East, Europe, the United States, and other parts of the world. You can support our work by small donation. More details on our website, ropes.org. We also invite you to follow us at ropes.org on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and Threads, and to find out more about our work with emerging leaders from the Middle East. I'm Ibrahim Abu-Ahmad.
And I am Ksenia Svetlova.
Shalom.
Salam.